So my name is Jake Tometich. This is my wife, Brooke Tometich. And we have a son and a daughter, a 10-year-old son named Lyndon and a 6-year-old daughter named Louie.
It was not you who sent me here, but God.
Good.
Genesis or Ephesians 45:8.
Good job. Genesis or Ephesians.
And I'm going to do outside when we're with the fire.
Okay, fireside homework. That sounds great. We both really were feeling called to adoption. He has a sister that's adopted from South Korea, and I shared with him that ever since I was a little girl, I knew that I would adopt. That was just a calling on my heart from such a young age.
Yeah, so we were at a work conference actually in Florida for an organization we worked with at the time, and we really just kind of looked at each other at one moment during the conference, and we said, we feel like God's telling us that now is the time to pursue this.
So we went home and we started the process right away, and we had no idea that God was going to match us. The day after we went active, we were home study active, we got a call the next day from our social worker, and she said, I don't want you getting your hopes up, but we actually got a call from a 16-year-old. She called our hotline. I need to make sure that y'all are okay with the situation. It's a non-consensual situation with her pregnancy, and we were, of course, great with that. And we got the call an hour later, and she said, well, you're due with a baby in May. And we were both like, okay, this is real, this is happening. So we were getting ready for church on Mother's Day, and we got a call that our sweet birth mom was in labor. We got to go to the hospital, be with her. They gave us a room. And we always joke and say God gave us a 2-for-1 deal because that 16-year-old birth mom basically became like another child to us. So, from that standpoint, our adoption story is easy peasy. We were matched quickly, 45 minutes down the road, great relationship with birth mom, but things went sour at our 6-month finalization.
So 6 months into our adoption, after she was born, we went to court to go finalize everything. And sure enough, the birth father was there, which we had never spoken to him before. We had never met him. I don't know if we'd ever seen him even.
And because it was a non-consensual situation, we didn't think we had to worry about that. But again, blood is pretty important to judges. And so they entertained him, and we had to fight for almost 3 months with our birth mom at our side to make sure that Louie was ours. And really a turning point for us. I remember going up to Louie's nursery. She was 8 months old, and just getting on my knees and begging God to just let us keep her, and just thinking 10 years down the road, would she be with us? Would she be ours? And I remember a verse that just completely calmed me and changed my life as I was reading through Exodus. And I really just wanted to read about the Red Sea and how God parted that Red Sea, because we needed our Red Sea parted.
She said, it's a time when you're spending so much time just begging God, right? We feel like you've asked us to pursue this. We feel like you blessed us with this perfect child, and then it was hard to reconcile the fact that she might get taken away from us. And again, it seemed like every time we would go for another date, another one was supposed to be finalized, would be another delay. They kept giving more and more chances, and so it ended up being one of the critical turning points in our lives from a faith perspective. And I know for me at least, really brought me back to that place of relying on God wholeheartedly.
So after that, God is so great. Everything worked out amazingly. We got to finalize our adoption when Louie was 10 months old. We got it on the back end. That was a little bit easier in the front end.
Would you be the most beautiful consequence of a world that's coming down? Standing up on our own for the things we know. Raise a voice, hear it echo. Raise a voice, hear it echo.
Yeah, it's funny how a lot of people tell us, if they don't know that Louie's adopted, that she looks like one of our biological children. She looks exactly like us, and it's just so funny seeing the personality difference. My son and I tend to be very laid back, and Brooke and Louie are a little more animated and extroverted, but she's the life of the party, and we always talk about how boring it would be without her around.
And I was having a sweet moment with Lyndon the other night. We were just laying in bed, and he was like, Mom, we were talking all about his day. He said, can we just watch videos of Louie from when she was a baby? We just sat there for an hour, and all the videos we have saved of Louie, I mean, that's his baby too. She's his favorite person in the world.
So for those that are thinking about the adoption process or fostering, I would say go into it with an open mind as to how that journey can play out, and also really surrender it all to God, because it's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
I remember sitting with our CEO's wife, and I just said, I'm just not sure if this is the right time or if God really wants us to go this route right now. And she looked at me and she said, do you think God will be displeased with something that he calls us to? Adoption is one of the closest things to the Lord's heart. She said, I promise you step out in this, he's gonna be with you every step of the way. And it was such an aha moment for me, like, why do we do these things? Good things that we know that we should be doing, and we start thinking, oh, I feel like God is telling me to do this. Of course he's telling you to do it, and he's gonna honor it, and he's gonna be with you every step of the way. So you need to do it, regardless of how hard it's gonna be. If there's any roadblocks, it's worth it, because these kiddos, they need a family, and it's the best thing we've ever done with our lives.